All right, welcome to the Whiskey Vault. I'm Daniel Whittington.
I'm Rex, and today we're diving into a Kentucky straight bourbon.
Yes, you know it as Elmer T Lee, and I know it as a whiskey I've never had before, but was probably consumed by Elmer Fudd.
Dad joke. 8 seconds in. You got a dad joke. Here we go.
Now, I have researched it a bit. I'll tell you before I pour it.
Right.
Because we're going to drink this while we have some other family business to handle. This was named after the famous distiller at Buffalo Trace who was responsible for Blanton's single barrel. This is a high rye whiskey. Supposedly an astounding whiskey. I have no reason to doubt.
Yeah, it smells quite nice. You're getting apples?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, and citrus. Kind of almost lemon. Yeah, like iced tea.
I'm getting apples and pecans.
Ah, this is going to be a whiskey I like, I think. I like apples and pecans. This is a homemade apple pie. Oh. No wonder it was in Elmer T Lee's private collection.
Elmer is a friend of mine now.
Yes, he is now.
I like it.
Okay, so to a little family business. So a few whiskey videos back, we made a joke about a whiskey being a whiskey that was wearing panties.
Why by we? I did. And he didn't correct me.
I didn't stop you because I thought it was funny. But
here's the thing. We typically would not care. It's like, look, if we're going to be having fun and say interesting things, some people are going to get offended. But
now here's the caveat, because this is something we teach at the Whiskey School, which is if you're going to market something, whatever you market is interesting enough to move people, then you're guaranteed to piss off some people.
Yeah.
And the marker of whether you're succeeding isn't that you're pissing people off, because that's easy. Right? The mark of whether you're doing something worth doing is if you're pissing off the people who aren't your people. Right? So if the people who are getting annoyed are not our people, then that's fine. They're not our people.
Yeah.
Right? But the person who made a comment about that joke...
They're our people.
And they weren't upset and they weren't offended. They were just like, hey... Come on, guys. Really? Are we going to stoop to that? Yes. And so we just want to say...
I do work blue.
In the event that you ever do something that offends the people that you absolutely know are your people.
Yeah, the people you care about.
And this is someone that we know is our people. Then you just stop and you say, hey, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. So as an act of solidarity, I'm wearing panties today.
Yeah. Today only? Let's be honest. All right, Elmer T Lee... Now let's look at this whiskey. What do we got? We've got a very dark color. Not sure how old this is.
Yeah.
There's no official listing.
So give me kind of an outline here. Like, how would I progress through a whiskey to say interesting things? Okay,
so the first thing that you're going to know when you pick it up is you know that this is a bourbon, because that really sweet smell with no smoke is always going to be some percentage of corn or rye or something like that. Something you're not going to find in a Scottish whiskey that's all barley, right? So you know you're not in Scotch land. You know you're not in Irish... Well, I don't know. You could mistake this for an Irish whiskey on nose alone. Because it's so light and friendly and kind of spicy.
Yeah.
So then you're going to go off of color, and you know that there's some age to this. And if it's from a country that doesn't allow fake coloring like America, then that's going to be all natural. Now, we know it's American bourbon. So what we can assume next is that because it's bourbon, it's at least 51% corn. But we're going to try to figure out what else was in there, because this isn't a pure corn whiskey.
Okay.
So if it's mostly wheat, then you're going to get a lot of the rounded sweet flavors, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If it's rye, you're going to get spice notes.
Okay.
And so if you raise it up and you think there's the sweetness of corn.
So we start with the smell or start with the color?
I would start with the color,
okay.
And we know that this is a decent age. This is not a young whiskey.
And
by young, I mean under 2 years. This is probably at least 4.
Youngers are going to be lighter.
Right, and it's a straight bourbon, so we know it's at least 4 years old because there's no age marker on it.
Okay.
And they can't do that if it's not 4. So we know it's at least 4, maybe a little older. It could be between 6, 8. Nobody knows.
I'm liking this a little too much. I'm going through it pretty quick.
And then your first sip, you're going to look for the flavor components that don't match the smell. So in rye, I always find that the nose is spicy, but the flavor of rye is sweeter.
Okay.
Rye kind of adds this complexity to a sweet bourbon, but it doesn't do it in a way that's really dramatic.
Right.
But it does get dramatic on the nose. Rye is always dramatic on the nose to me. That's always where I find. Take a smell and you go, yep, that's rye.
Is that why I'm usually a little disappointed whenever I try a rye? Because I'll smell it, it's like, oh, there's some stuff going on, and then I'll taste it, like, oh, it's just...
What you'll find in mixing, in my experience, is that the higher rye is, the smoother the whiskeys. Not in every case, but I find that a lot. You'll use rye to kind of add some complexity, but it's not complexity that makes it aggressive or harsh. Which is shocking when you smell it. You smell it and you think, ooh, spice. And then you taste it and you go, that's butter.
And this is a bourbon that I would categorize as one of the bourbons that's evolving my position.
Fair enough.
The bourbons that I'm drinking it without the lens of Scotch. The Scotch, this is going to be a weird, funky, interesting adventure. Bourbon, this is just comfortable, relax, settle in.
This is home.
This is home, and it's not going to be like surprising in any single direction, but it can be very, very pleasant.
So where would you drink this whiskey? What is this whiskey for?
Hold on.
I've got mine.
This is, a horse race, but not the, big Kentucky Derby. This is like out in the middle of nowhere horse race, and you're not actually riding because that's too much work. You're on the sidelines right at the finish line.
Fair enough.
Yeah, at the finish line. Very comfortable chairs. Super important. You have to have comfortable chairs, and then like a cotton button-up shirt, and one of those hats where they're like tall in the front and they come down to the
yeah.
What are those called?
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to be wearing
a flat cap.
Yes, maybe, I don't know.
Those are Irish, aren't they?
Well, sure. Yeah, one of those. And you're about to win a lot of money.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I like yours way better than mine. Mine was, this is a bourbon you drink while pushing down the ripped up turf in a polo field with your fancy shoes.
You should just give me this bottle of bourbon. You did not use it correctly.
Well, fair enough. Till tomorrow, may your crazy stay this side of legal.
And may you return before we have time to miss you.
Cheers.